Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lions Live. Back at another beautiful day here, ready for some Lions baseball. The lineup for the Lions today, especially in this game, is Cyrus Campos starting at shortstop, then Jaron Morris at catcher, Caleb Ramsey at center field, Cade Cook in right field, Denaj Williams at second base, Will Curcio at third, Big Terry at designated hitter, Morgan Halliday at first base today, Logan Stradley in left, and your pitcher is Josh Leake. Lions are currently coming off a 2-win day yesterday, and they are about to play St. Francis again, the same team they played the first game. Lions trailed most of the first game yesterday and came back in the later innings to win. St. Francis might come in here with a chip on their shoulder.
St. Francis just got done with the game against Bruton Parker. Took a big loss in that one.
Here's the first pitch of the ball game, and that is in there for strike one. Here's the 0-1. And that one appeared to be just a little bit off the mark. Looked like to be a 50-50 call. Count moves to 1-1. Next pitch is way high and outside. That one got away from him. Count moves to 2-1. Here's the 2-1. And that's a ground ball hit to Denaj at second. He gloves it, throws it to first. Catch made by Halliday, and there's the first out. One big difference that could be in this game is there is no wind blowing out like there was yesterday, so home runs are going to be maybe just a little bit more rare as that pitch is in there for strike one. Here's the 0-1, and that one's low, count even. Here's the 1-1, and that ball is upstairs. Count moves to 2-1. Here's the 2-1, and that's in there. Count evens up at 2-2. Good opportunity right now for Josh Leake to get a strikeout. Here's the pitch, and that's in there for strike three. Now 2 outs here in the top of the first. Here's the pitch from Leake, and that one is just off the mark for ball one. Next pitch is swung on and hit foul directly at the third base dugout. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and missed for strike two. Count now 1-2 here with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Outside and low, count even at 2-2. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and hit very high, very deep to left field, and that ball is going to fly into the pond. So St. Francis strikes first on a home run, a solo shot. Here's the next pitch from Leak, and that's in there, outside corner for strike one. Good job by Leak to come back after these hitters after that home run. Here's the 0-1. Outside, ball one. And the next pitch is high and inside. Count moves to a hitter's count of 2-1. The pitch is in there for strike two.
Josh Leake's doing a really good job of getting these hitters to 2-strike counts.
Here's the 2-2. Swung on and poked through the right side, and that's going to be a base hit. It's the second batter in a row that's gotten a hit off of a 2-2 count. Here's the pitch. And that's outside corner for strike one. Runner at first has a considerable lead. See if he tries to swipe it back here. That pitch is on the outside corner as well. Count now moves to a 0-2. And a pickoff attempt from Leak. Not in time, though. Runner back safely. Here's the 0-2. Runner takes off, and that pitch is there for strike three. So it won't really matter. They didn't even call him safe or out, so they will get the strikeout. Josh Leak does, but not before St. Francis strikes first on a solo shot to left field. We'll be right back after this break. All right, here we go for the bottom half of the first inning. St. Francis currently leading 1-0 off of a solo shot to left field last inning. And in steps Cyrus Campos. Campos having a really good day yesterday, a couple of bombs and a couple of base hits. And he'll watch the first pitch low for ball one. Here's the 1-0. And it's taken low and inside, ball two. Campos waiting for his pitch, maybe try to go Yahtzee again. The pitch is popped up to the left side of the field in foul ground. Third baseman comes over and makes the catch next to the fence for the first out. And that'll bring up Jaron Morris, who actually hit the walk-off home run for the Mercy Rule against Bruton Parker last night.
That ball he hit yesterday was shot out of a cannon.
He'll watch the first pitch outside for strike one. Here's the 0-1. And that pitch is low. Count evens at 1-1. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and hit to the right side, and that's going to get down in right field. So Jaron Morris aboard with a single. And that'll bring up the dangerous Caleb Ramsey, who had a massive day yesterday.
Yeah, it felt like every time he stepped up to the plate, ball was hit hard somewhere.
And the first pitch is low and inside, almost clips him, but he got out of the way for ball one.
Looks like Chris Hall stepped onto the base path for Morris.
Here's the pitch. Swung on and hit to the second baseman, who gloves it, throws it to second for one, and Ramsey beats out the throw to first, so no double play. Caleb Ramsey reaches on a fielder's choice. And that'll bring up Cade Cook, who also had a home run yesterday against St. Francis. Here's the pitch. And it's taken for strike one. Really sunny out today. Good baseball weather. Here's the 0-1. Outside, count evens. Here's the 1-1. Runner takes off for second. The throw down is not going to get there as he bobbled it, and it kicks away from him. So a stolen base for Caleb Ramsey, and now the Lions have a runner at second here with 2 outs. Count now 1-2 for Cook. Here's the pitch. Taken low, count evens 2-2. Here's the 2-2. Outside, count now full. Here's the payoff. And it was called strike three. Looked to be a 50-50 call. Cook will be out, so that's the end of the inning. So the Lions do not respond to the solo shot hit in this inning. We'll be right back after this break. Here we are now in the top half of the second. Josh Leak out for the Lions once again for an inning of work. And the first pitch is high for ball one. So here's the 1-0. Swung on and missed, count evens. So here's the 1-1, and that's outside corner, strike two. The 1-2 is swung on and missed for strike three. That is Leak's third strikeout on the day. Good way to start off the inning.
Yeah, Leak's starting the day off hot. He struck out half the batters he's faced so far.
Next pitch is swung on and hit to the left side of the field, and a running catch by Logan Stradley. There's out number two, so Leak makes quick work of the first two batters he sees this inning. St. Francis coach calls time and is talking to his batter. Little wind now blowing in from right field. At least that's what the flagpole is telling us.
I feel like that's a rare sight here.
For the wind to blow in, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's the pitch. And just off the mark outside for ball one. Next pitch is upstairs. Count moves to 2-0. Next pitch is in there, so count now 2-1. Here's the 2-1 offer. And in there, count even now at 2-2. So now we got twos across the scoreboard, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Swung on and hit to center field, and Ramsey barely moves. That ball was hit right to him, and he squeezes it for the 3rd out of the inning. Good bounce back inning there from Josh Leake. Retires the first 3 batters he sees. We'll be right back after this break. Here we now go in the bottom half of the second, and the first batter is Denaj Williams, who hit 2 really, really far home runs yesterday. He's going to look at the first pitch outside corner for strike 1.
Denaj has definitely been heating up lately. He's hit a lot of home runs.
Next pitch is outside. Count evens out at 1-1. The 1-1 is taken low for ball 2. Will Curcio on deck, another dangerous hitter. And Didi swings and hits a high fly ball to left field. Will it get out? And it will! See ya! Denaj Williams with an Oppo tank. We are now all tied at 1 here in the second inning. Great swing by Williams right there. And now steps up the dangerous Will Curcio, who also had a couple of bombs yesterday. First pitch is outside, ball 1. Next pitch is outside again. Count moves to 2-0.
Here's the 2-0. It's cut on and missed. Count moves to 2-1.
Next offering is swung on and fouled straight back. Count now evens at 2-2. And pitcher wanting a new ball. Now here's the 2-2 to Curcio, and he swings and hits a tapper back to the mound, gloved by the pitcher. He flips it over to first for out number 1. And that'll bring up Zach Terry. He had a couple of home runs yesterday, but the highlight was the ball he sent over the center field wall as he hit that one 105 miles an hour off the bat. Here's the pitch, and it's taken for strike 1. Next pitch to Terry is low. Count evens out at 1-1. And Terry fouls the next pitch straight back. Count now moves to 1-2 here. Currently 1 out, nobody on. Score is tied at 1. Here's the 1-2, and it's upstairs. Count evens out 2-2. Here's the 2-2 to Terry, and a big swing and a miss. So there is out number 2 as Terry strikes out, and that'll bring up the big Canadian, Morgan Halliday. Halliday was the DH yesterday, today getting some reps at first. Here's the pitch. Swung and tapped foul right behind him. Count is now 0-1. Here's the 0-1. And that pitch is just off the mark. Count moves to 1-1. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and foul tipped into the mitt. Count moves to 1-2. The 1-2 home, and he hits it to the left side. Glove by the shortstop. Had trouble getting it out of the glove, and Maple will meet it. Will beat the throw out. We'll see how they score that, and it looks like they're going to score that as a hit. So it'll be a single for Halliday, and that'll bring up the dangerous Logan Stradley, who finally broke out a little bit yesterday.
Stradley picked up his first home run in a couple of weeks.
First pitch is swung on a miss for strike 1.
The 0-1 pitch. Taken well outside. The catcher does a good job containing that one.
Next pitch to Stradley is swung on and fouled off. Hits the light pole. Count is now 1-2. 2 outs here. Runner at first. Score is currently tied at 1, and we are in the bottom of the second. Next pitch is outside and low. Count evens out at 2-2. Next pitch to Stradley is swung on a hit right back up the middle. Shortstop is able to glove it, and he'll flip to second for the 3rd out. So Lions tied up in this inning by an opposite field home run by Denaj Williams. We'll be right back after this break. Here we go now in the top of the 3rd. Leak out for another inning for the Lions. And there's strike 1. Next pitch is upstairs. Count moves to 1-1. We've seen a lot of even counts from both teams this game. Next pitch is upstairs. Leak falls behind 2-1. Next pitch is high and tight. Count is now the hitter's count of 3-1. Very dangerous count to be in right here if you're a pitcher. Next pitch is called strike 2. Count now full.
Josh Leaks looking to pick up his 4th strikeout of the day.
And he will swing and a miss. Strike 3 on a breaking ball. And there's the first out of the 3rd. Next pitch from Leak is
taken inside.
There we go. There you go. He kind of checked his swing. I wasn't sure if maybe he hit it off the knob of the bat or something, but it is inside for a ball. Next pitch is called outside strike 1. Count now even. Here's the 1-1. And just a little low. Count now moves to 2-1. Here's the 2-1. And that's in there for strike 2. Count now even. The 2-2 is outside. Count now full. Here's the payoff. And it's hit to the left side. Stradley moves in a couple steps to make the catch. 2 outs.
That's some tough luck for that St. Francis hitter. That ball was rifled. Bryan's got a guy there.
Next pitch from Leak is in there for strike 1. The 0-1 is in there for strike 2. So count now 0-2. The 0-2 from Leak is in there, caught looking for strike 3. That is a window shopper. So Leak makes quick work of the St. Francis lineup. We're still tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Now here we are in the bottom of the 3rd, and the Lions are now back to the top of their lineup in Cyrus Campos.
Campos popped out to the third baseman his last at bat.
And he'll take first pitch low for ball 1. Score currently tied 1-1. St. Francis with 2 hits on the day and the Lions with 3. Next pitch is appeared to be a little out, but it's called strike. Count evens at 1-1. That pitch is outside. Count now moves to 2-1. Next pitch is swung on and missed. Count now moves to an even 2-2.
Campos appeared to be fooled by that pitch. Half-hearted swing.
Next pitch is hit right back up the middle for a base hit. So Lions have their leadoff hitter aboard off of a single from Cyrus Campos, and now St. Francis has to worry about some speed on the base pass as well. This will bring up Jaron Morris, a very dangerous hitter.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Campos running here. They're testing this St. Francis catcher early. Ramsey picked up a stolen base last time.
And there's a pickoff attempt, try to keep Campos closer to the bag to no avail. Next pitch is swung on and hit to the shortstop, who throws it to second, and he bobbled it, but he picked it back up. So Campos will be out, and Jaron will reach first on a fielder's choice. St. Francis had a good shot at turning two right there, but the throw was offline. The second baseman bobbled the ball, but he did pick it up in time. And now up to bat is the dangerous Caleb Ramsey. One out here, runner at first. First pitch is swung on and hit right back. Count moves to 0-1. Here's the next pitch. And it is inside corner for strike two. Count now 0-2, but, I mean, with Ramsey at bat, I think the Lions maybe want this, as Ramsey is a really good two-strike hitter.
Ramsey's just a good hitter all around. I'm sure he'd rather be in an advantage count.
And he swings and hits it kind of off the fist to left field. And the left fielder greatly misranged that ball. Now Chris Hall, the pinch runner for Jaron Morris, will get to third. Ramsey will move into second. So it's a double for Caleb Ramsey. He picks up, once again, another two-strike hit. And now at the bat is Cade Cook. Left fielder greatly misjudged that fly ball, overran it. Now the Lions have runners on second and third with only one out here. Infield playing in. The pitch is outside for ball one. The 1-0, and that's in there for a strike. Count now even at 1-1. The 1-1 offer is hit to right field, and that's over the right fielder's head. It'll go to the wall. Cook rounds first, headed for second. Ramsey rounds third, and he's going to get home standing. So it's a two-run double for Cade Cook here in the third. Lions now have a 3-1 lead.
Denaj Williams stepping to the plate. Homered in his last at-bat. Definitely looking to do damage with just one out and a runner in scoring position.
A single would be good for the Lions right here, as Cook does have some speed, and looks like we're going to have a mound visit for St. Francis pitcher. Coach Day currently talking to his players about their approaches at the plate.
I think he was saying that they should match what Cade Cook just did.
Absolutely. I mean, that pitch was outside, a very hard pitch to hit. St. Francis tried to go back-to-back with that pitch, and Cook made him pay for it. Once again, Denaj Williams at the plate. Homered his last AB. Still only one out here. Runner at second. Lions currently leading 3-1. First pitch to Denaj is hit to left field, and that's going to fall. Cook rounds second, heads for home plate. He'll get there. Denaj dives into second safely. So an RBI double for Denaj Williams, and now Bryan leads 4-1. Out to bat is the dangerous Will Curcio. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed for strike one. I don't think there was a question what Curcio was trying to do to that pitch.
Yeah, I can't blame him after watching your teammates go back to back to back with doubles. You want to
Here's
get
the
your
0-1. And that is outside. Count evens out at 1-1. Next pitch to Curcio is hit to the left side, past the diving third baseman into left field. So it'll be a single for Curcio. Runner does not score as Coach Colin Ledbetter tells Denage to put on the brakes. And now here he is, big Zach Terry. Still only one out here, runner at first and third. Here's the first pitch to Terry, and it's outside and low for ball one.
Definitely a big opportunity for Zach Terry here.
Good chance for the Lions to extend their lead here as a simple pop fly to the outfield will score Denage Williams because he does have a little bit of speed behind him. And it won't be necessary as Terry sends the ball back right where it came from, up the middle for a single. So it's an RBI single for Zach Terry, and the Lions are continuing to roll this inning as they've already put up a 4 spot, and there's still only one out. Runner at first and second. In steps in the big Canadian Morgan Halliday.
Lions have picked up 5 hits in a row.
Here's the pitch. And that is outside for ball one. Morgan's favorite pastime is watching Oilers hockey in the batting cages. The 1-0 is hit to the left side, foul. Count now even at 1-1 here, still only one out. Here's the pitch. Swung on and hit to the first base side, but that one is foul as well. Count now moves to 1-2. Logan Stradley on deck. The 1-2 is hit to the right side, past the diving second baseman. Colin Ledbetter gives the go-ahead to Curcio, and he will score as the throw gets away from the cutoff. So an RBI single for the big Canadian Morgan Halliday, making Canada proud in Tennessee. Still only one out here. Bryan put up a 5 spot so far in this inning. Score is 6-1. And the batter is now Logan Stradley.
Some good 2-strike hitting from Halliday there. Moves up to 2 for 2 on the day.
First pitch to Stradley is swung on and hit back up the middle to the shortstop, who flips to second for one. And the throw gets away from the first baseman, and it seemed to go out of play. So Zach Terry will come in, and Stradley moves to second. Score now 7-1. And we are back to the top of the lineup in Cyrus Campos. That is the first error of the game. Bryan already taking early command of this. Score is 7-1.
I believe the Lions have hit around now. Cyrus started off this inning. Back up for his second at bat of the inning.
And seems to be a little confrontation between St. Francis coach and the field umpire. I don't really know what's there to argue about or talk about. The throw was low and the first baseman did not make the pick. Maybe.
It might be about the decision of Zach Terry scoring there.
Perhaps, yeah.
But I doubt that there's any way that that run would be coming off the board.
Yeah, and it is not going to come off the board. Score remains 7-1. And here we go for Cyrus Campos. Here's the pitch. And it's high and outside, ball one. Campos is a good combination of speed and power right here. He can beat out just about any throw to first base from the infield, but he can also hit the ball out. And he almost did just there, fouled off to the right side. Just a little bit early on it. Count moves to 1-1. Next pitch to Campos is low and inside, ball two. Runner currently at second, 2 outs. Lions have put up a 6 spot in this inning. Next pitch to Campos is low and outside, ball three. Count is now the hitter's count of 3-1. So a good opportunity right here for Cyrus Campos to capitalize, being ahead in this count.
You saw from that foul bar earlier, he was looking to do damage, walked there.
That ball was really outside. So now runners at first and second with 2 outs. And now steps up Jaron Morris. And it seems as though we might have a pitching change here for St. Francis. Maybe just a mound visit. We'll see here in a second. And it will be a pitching change. So a pitching change for St. Francis. Bryan already has 6 runs on the inning. Score is currently 7-1, and we will be right back after this intermission. All right, here we go. We are currently in the bottom of the third. St. Francis just did a pitching change. Runners at first and second. Jaron Morris up to the dish, and Bryan is currently leading 7-1.
There are 2 outs, but it's still definitely a dangerous situation, given the hitter up to bat.
And that pitch is hit high to right center field. Center fielder calls everybody off, and he does make the catch for the third out. Bryan puts up a 6 spot here in the bottom of the third. Currently has a commanding lead of 7-1. We'll be back after this intermission. All right, here we go now in the top of the fourth. Josh Leake on the mound for the Bryans still for another inning. Bryan currently having a commanding lead of 7-1 off of 10 hits. First pitch from Leake is hit to third baseman Curcio, who gloves it, throws it across a little high, and oh my, this might cause a little bit of issue. The base runner looked like he lowered his shoulder and went into Halliday. Everything's all good between them. I think they're going to call the runner out on the tag. Some argument from the opposing coach. He better be careful right here or he will get run.
Yeah. I definitely see his point, though, because that ball did come out at the end of the play. I guess that was on the transfer or maybe through the contact. He's out.
So the runner is called out. I'm going to try to summarize what just happened. So there was a ground ball hit to the third baseman Curcio, and the throw got away from a little bit. The first baseman Halliday jumped off the bag and made the catch and tried to put the tag on him, but when he did make the tag, he was a little bit in the baseline. The runner kind of lowered his shoulder a little bit and hit him as that pitch is low for ball one. And it pops out of the glove or maybe on the transfer. He was still called out. St. Francis' coach not happy about it. Next pitch is outside 2-0. So a little bit of fireworks here in the great city of Dayton, Tennessee. And that's in there. Count moves to 2-1.
the St. Francis coaching staff has had a lot to say to the umpires so far in this game. We're just in the top of the fourth inning.
Next pitch from Leak is outside. Count now moves to a 3-1. Was a really good play, that last hitter from Halliday, to get off the bag and catch that. If he didn't, that ball could have sailed in the dugout and given the runner an extra base. 3-1 is in there. Count now moves to a full 3-2. Here's the payoff. And upstairs, ball 4. Now St. Francis has a runner at first with 1 out.
With that walk, that makes the first walk for Josh Leak today. He's been really efficient coming straight at these batters.
Next pitch from Leak is low, ball 1. Runner at first with a sizable lead. And that ball is tapped foul behind home plate. Count now at an even 1-1. 1 out, runner at first. Bryan currently leading 7-1. And a pickoff attempt, and it sails over the fence, so that'll give him 2 bases. So now a runner at third for St. Francis with only 1 out, and a good opportunity right here to cut the lead down.
Yeah, I guess that throw just got away from Josh Leak because that was far off the mark.
Yeah, that ball, usually when that happens is that ball is tapped foul to third base side. Usually when you see an overthrow to a pickoff and it goes over the fence, it barely goes over, it hits the top of the fence and go over. That ball was probably 5 feet over the fence.
I'd say more than that.
It could have been more than that. But either way, I mean, maybe didn't have a good grip on the ball, possibly slipped out when he threw it. Count is now 1-2. Here's the pitch. And that is a dead ball. We now see somebody going down to the Lions bullpen.
Looks like Logan Sullivan.
Yeah, I think it is Logan Sullivan. And we're going to have a mound visit from Corey Reinhardt.
I think we're seeing some frustration out of Josh Leak here. He was working quick and getting on the mound fast, and looked like he was really winding up to throw those pitches.
So here we go again. Runners at first and third now on the hit by pitch. 1 out in the inning. Bryan still leading 7-1. St. Francis threatening here. And that pitch is in there for strike 1. The 0-1 from Leak is fouled straight back. Count now moves to 0-2. Good opportunity right here to get a strikeout. That strikeout would be huge. He's also a ground ball away from ending the inning.
Strikeout or a 2 ball here would be big.
Here's the 0-2. And that's in there for strike 3. Got him looking. Now 2 outs. Good job by Josh Leak right there. I don't know what Corey Reinhardt said to him during that mound visit, but it must have worked. Runner's still at first and third here now with 2 outs. The pitch. And that's in there for strike 1. The 0-1 is low and away. Count moves to 1-1. Figured we see maybe some movement from the runner at first, but so far, no moss. Next pitch is lined back up the middle for a base hit. Runner from third scores. Runners now at first and second score 7-2. Here's the pitch from Leak. And that's in there for strike 1.
Leak's done a good job of getting ahead of these batters. Just having trouble staying in it.
Next pitch from Leak is in there. Count moves to 0-2.
But he's definitely still staying around the zone. That's evident from his 6 strikeouts so far.
Here's the 2-0. And, just off the mark. Count moves to 1-2. And Leak steps off. Count now currently 1-2 here, 2 outs. Runners at first and second. Here's the pitch. Swung on, foul tip into the mid. So good job from Josh Leak right there to limit the damage. However, St. Francis does score 1, scores now 7-2, and we'll be right back after this break. Here we go now in the bottom of the fourth. Bryan currently leading 7-2, and the first batter will be Caleb Ramsey. The pitch is upstairs, ball one.
Ramsey had a 2-strike double in his last at bat.
Here's the 1-0, and that's down. Count 2-0. The 2-0 is inside corner, strike one. Count moves to 2-1. Count currently 2-1. Here's the pitch, and that's outside and high. Count moves to the hitter's count of 3-1.
Ramsey in advantage count. Definitely looking to do damage here.
Pitch is low. So a leadoff walk for Caleb Ramsey, and that's going to bring up the captain, Cade Cook.
Might see some action on the bases from Ramsey. We saw it last time he was on.
First pitch to Cook is hit pretty well to left, and it'll just stay foul. Couldn't tuck it into the line. Count now 0-1. Good swing right there from Cook. He just could not keep that ball fair enough. Ramsey does have some wheels. We'll see if maybe he can get another stolen base. And the next pitch is fouled off. Count now moves to 0-2.
The 0-2 pitch.
Is in there. Outside corner, strike three. So Cook down looking, one out here now in the bottom of the fourth. And that'll bring up Denaj Williams, who already has a huge home run in this game.
Two for two with a home run and double.
Runner at first. Here's the pitch, and it's high for ball one. Getting some cloud cover now here in Dayton. Still no wind. And a pickoff attempt is no good. Ramsey back standing up. Next pitch to Didi is low. Countdown moves to the advantage count of 2-0. Good spot right here for Denaj to do some damage. Try to extend this lead a little bit. Here's the pitch. And it's outside and low, so count moves to 3-0 now.
The kind of power this guy has, I'd say he probably has the 3-0 green light.
Here's the pitch. And that's in there for strike one, so count now 3-1. One out here, runner at first. Here's the pitch. And it's outside and low. So another walk. And that'll bring up Will Curcio, a very dangerous hitter. A single will definitely score Ramsey as he has a lot of speed. Curcio doesn't have to do much this at bat. But we know the power this guy has. He's liable to put another 3 spot up. Here's the pitch. And it's outside and high, ball 1. Here's the 1-0. And a breaking ball in there for strike 1. Count now even. Next pitch to Curcio is fouled off to the right side. Count now 1-2 here with 1 out. Runners at first and second. Here's the pitch. Runner takes off to third, and they're going to, and it's a strike him out, throw him out for St. Francis. And that will end the inning. So Lions can't get anything across in this inning. We'll be right back after this break. All right, so here we go now in the top of the fifth. A pitching change for Bryan as Ryan Ely toes the rubber now. First pitch he throws is outside for ball one. Next pitch is in there. Count evens up at 1-1.
Ely has been very successful in his short outings so far this year.
Yes, he's been great coming out of the pen. Wow, what a slider that was. That moved a ton. Wow, count moves to 1-2. that honestly probably had 13 or more inches of break. And the next pitch is hit to the third base side, foul. The slider before that honestly looked like it was going to go behind the batter, and then it ended up right in the middle of the plate. Which he is. Ryan is a sidearm pitcher, so he will have a little bit more movement on his slider. That pitch is outside. Count evens up at 2-2. Here's the 2-2. And it's fouled off to the right side. Next pitch from Ely is hit down the right field line, and it's going to fall just shy of the line. Runner takes off for second, and he will get there sliding safely. So it's a leadoff double for St. Francis.
It's a good throw by Cook there. Ball just died. Didn't really have enough time to. Didn't have enough time to have a chance.
Now runner at second for St. Francis. No outs here. Pitch from Ely is in there for strike one. And umpire calls time, and we're going to have a pinch runner. So now the 0-1 is maybe a little bit too far inside. Count evens out at 1-1. Here's the 1-1 from Ely. And that's in there outside corner for strike two. Bryan currently having a 5-run lead. Score is 7-2.
That ball skips away from Morris. Got lucky for that one to not go in the dugout.
Count currently 2-2. And that one low and inside. Count now full.
That one looked like a 50-50 call there. Could have gone either way.
And that pitch just off the mark, so it will be a walk. Runners now at first and third. Now going to have a mound visit. It's going to be Coach Jordan Day. Still no outs here. Runners at first and third for St. Francis. So Ely will remain in the game as it stands right now. There is some action in the Lions bullpen. First pitch is outside corner for a strike. Count 0-1. Next pitch from Ely is hit to the first base side, and it just barely sneaks foul. Count now 0-2. Still no movement from the runner at first.
Ely here in a prime position to pick up his first out of the inning.
Here's the 0-2. And that pitch is fouled off over the first base dugout. Here's the next 0-2. And that pitch is way outside. Good two-strike pitch. No offer from the batter. Count is now 1-2. And a pickoff move. Runner does get back safely. So we'll do it again. Count still 1-2. No outs. Runners at first and third. Lions still far ahead as they lead 7-2. Here's the pitch. And that's in there for strike three. I think umpire signaled strike three, but then the field umpire said he didn't go, so I guess maybe it was on the swing. I don't know. The pitch looked good to me. The count is now 2-2. Here's the next pitch, and that one's low and outside. Count moves to full. Ely needs a strike right here. The pitch. Runner takes off, and it's hit to second base. Williams gloves it, throws on to first. Runner will score from third.
Smart play by Williams there. There's really no shot at a 2-ball because that's steal.
Next pitch from Ely is off the mark for a ball. The 1-0. And that is called strike one. Kind of a 50-50 call. Count now even at 1-1. And that pitch is also in there for a strike. Count now 1-2. Next pitch from Ely is hit down the third baseline. Foul. So we'll do it again. Count as 1-2, 1 out. Here's the 1-2 from Ely. And swing and fouled off. Next pitch from Ely is fly to left field. Stradley has a beat on it. He'll get it. Try to throw the runner out at second, but throw was a little offline, and it wouldn't have been in time anyway. So now 2 outs here in the inning. Runner at second. Great read off the bat right there from Logan Stradley. That ball wasn't hit very hard. If he would have been playing a little bit more back or read it wrong, that probably would have dropped in for a hit. Next pitch is a little low, so that'll be ball 1. The 1-0, and that one's in there for strike 1. The 1-1 from Ely, and that's in there for strike 2. Ely now 1 strike away from ending this inning, getting the Lions back in the dugout. Here's the 1-2, and it's hit to the first base side, and that will get out of play, foul. So we'll do it again. So count still 1-2. Here's the 1-2 from Ely, and it's chopped right to the catcher, Jaron, who fields it, throws it to first. Halliday with the grab, and there's the 3rd out. St. Francis scratches 1 across the board. The Bryan Lions need some insurance runs right here as they now just lead 7-3. We'll be right back after this break. So now here we go in the bottom of the 5th. And the first batter for the Lions is going to be big Zach Terry. Terry of dangerous threat. Had I believe, an RBI single his last AB. First pitch he sees is low and outside, ball one. Bryan needing some insurance now as they now just lead by 4. Here's the pitch. And that pitch is inside, ball 2. Count currently 2-0. Here's the pitch. And that one's way off the mark. Count is now 3-0. The question is does he have the green line or is he auto taking? Here's the 3-0. And that's called a strike, so count is now 3-1. So here's the 3-1 to Zach Terry, and he swings and fouls it straight back. Count now full. Big Canadian Morgan Halliday on deck. Here's the payoff. And that one's outside and low for ball 4. Batter now Morgan Halliday. And we're going to have a pinch runner for Big Terry. I don't know why. I mean, he does have some wheels. He can move for a big man. And it looks like it might be.
Looks like Jackson Ballou.
That is Jackson Ballou. Batter now Morgan Halliday, who is currently 2 for 2 on the day. Looking to extend his hitting streak here. Here's the pitch. And he swings and hits a pop-up to center field. Center fielder ranging back, catches it just in front of the warning track. And there's out number 1. Really good barrel and really good swing by Halliday right there, but he hit it to the one part in this ballpark that you do not want to hit it to.
But he got under that one a little bit. And that ball was hit sky high and still got fairly deep.
That'll bring up Logan Stradley. Here's the pitch. And that one gets away from the catcher as it was outside. Jackson Ballou moves up to second base. One out here, runner at second for the Lions. They currently lead 7-3. Here's the 1-0. And that one looked to be a breaking ball that got away from him a little bit inside for ball 2. Even though Stradley is the 9-hole batter for the Lions, don't let that fool you. He still has a lot of power behind that bat. And he flexed that power a little bit yesterday with a couple of bombs. Here's the 2-0. And that is outside and high. Count now moves to 3-0. We do now have some heavy cloud cover here. Still no wind blowing, though. Here's the 3-0. And that one almost runs in and gets him, but he gets out of the way. That'll be ball 4. So now the Lions have runners at first and second with 1 out. And here steps up the leadoff, Cyrus Campos. And it looks like one of St. Francis's coach is going out to the mound. Might see a pitching change here. And we will see a pitching change. So Lions currently have runners on first and second, and they lead 7-3. We'll be right back after this intermission. All right, here we go. Still in the bottom of the 5th. Lions have runners at first and second with 1 out. And in steps the leadoff, Cyrus Campos. Here's the pitch. And that's in there for strike 1.
Campos singled earlier in the game and walked in his last at bat.
Next pitch to Campos is outside. Count moves to 1-1. Next pitch is swung on a miss. Count moves to 1-2. So now here is the 1-2 to Campos. And he takes that one low and inside. Count evens out 2-2. Lions with a good opportunity right here to extend their lead a little bit and give some insurance for their pitching staff. And that ball is inside and low. So count now moves to a full 3-2.
Be a very dangerous situation if St. Francis allows Campos on right here with the lineup behind him.
And the payoff is inside. It skips away, but it won't matter. Bases are now loaded for a very dangerous power hitter, Jaron Morris. Still only one out. He doesn't really have to do much. A single or even a fly ball to the outfield will score.
We know who this guy is. He's not looking to do that.
Absolutely not. He's looking to send this ball over the pond. Here's the pitch, and that pitch is in the dirt, or should I say in the turf, for ball one. Here's the 1-0, and that pitch is in there for strike one. Here's the 1-1 to Morris, and a big cut.
Looks that one fouled back and caught the umpire.
Yeah. Count now moves to 1-2. They're going to make sure the umpire's okay, and he appears to be. Going to give him a little bit of a rest. Score is looking like St. Francis 3 runs on 4 hits and the Bryan Lions 7 runs on 10 hits. Both teams have 1 error on the game. Bases are currently juiced. And the batter is Jaron Morris, who is currently in a 1-2 count. So the home plate umpire is indeed fine. So now here we go, the 1-2. And that pitch is fouled off. So we'll do it again. Count remains 1-2 here. Here's the pitch. And that ball is very low and inside. Count now moves to even 2-2. Here's the 2-2. And Jaron Morris hits a high fly ball deep to right center. And it gets out. Grand slam, Jaron Morris. See ya. That's the insurance that the Lions needed. Score now 11-3 on an absolute missile hit by Jaron Morris.
That ball got out of here on a line. You just have to wonder how hard that ball was hit to go out to that part of the park, how low it was hit.
So still 1 out here. And the batter is Caleb Ramsey. He checks his swing. He did go around strike one. And that pitch is well in the dirt. Count now moves to 1-1. Here's the 1-1, and that pitch is outside. Count now moves to 2-1. Here's the next pitch to Ramsey, and he hits a fly ball out to left center field. Left fielder coming in and making the catch for the second out. And that'll bring up Cade Cook.
Cookie having a solid day at the plate. Doubled in his second at bat. Struck out twice.
Here's the pitch. And that pitch is inside corner for strike one. And the next pitch is hit very high in the infield. First baseman calling for it, and he will make the catch for the third out. But the Lions put up a 4 spot here in the bottom of the fifth from a Jaron Morris grand slam to give them some insurance. Score is now currently 11-3, and we'll be right back after this break. All right, here we go now in the top of the sixth. And a new face on the mound for the Lions. Logan Sullivan comes in. And the first pitch he throws is low and away for ball one. Lions currently are back to a commanding lead as they lead 11-3. And the next pitch is borderline but called a ball. Count moves to 2-0. Next pitch is grounded to the third baseman, and it kind of kicks off his glove. Cyrus Campos picks it up, but the throw not in time. Curcio tried to dive and make it. He almost did, but it just hit off of the leather. So now there will be a runner at first. Nobody out for St. Francis. Next pitch from Sullivan is swung on and missed. Count now 0-1. Next pitch is a little bit off, maybe a little bit low. Next pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. Threw some high cheese right there. Sullivan in a good position to get his first out. Here's the pitch. And he grounds it right back to Sullivan, who gloves it, throws it to second for one. Didi to first, and there's the double play. Great play right there from Logan Sullivan, a comebacker. He reaches his glove up, catches it, gives a good feed to Denaj Williams, who then throws it to first to complete the double play. And just like that, there's 2 gone. Next pitch from Sullivan is in there for strike 1. Next pitch is low and away for ball 1. Count now even at 1-1. And the next pitch is a short hop to Curcio, who picks it, throws it to first for the 3rd out. So the Lions get out of the inning off of a great double play by the pitcher Logan Sullivan, and then another great play to follow by Will Curcio at third base, a pick and a throw to first off of a very hard hit ball. Lions currently lead 11-3, and we'll be right back after this break. All right, here we go now in the bottom of the 6th. Lions put up a 0 in the top half of this inning, and their first batter is going to be Denaj Williams, who's having a great day at the plate today, and he'll tap one back to the mound. Pitcher fields it, flips it to first, and there's out number 1. And the next batter will be Will Curcio. We also see a new hitter on deck, Jackson Ballou. Here's the first pitch to Curcio, and that is over the plate for strike 1. Next pitch to Curcio is well in the dirt, and that's ball 1. That one about didn't clear the grass part of the turf. Next pitch is very inside, almost clips him. Count moves to 2-1. Here's the pitch. And he sends it foul down the third baseline. Saw some athleticism right there from the third base coach, Colin Ledbetter. Here's the 2-2. And that pitch was just off the mark. Count now full. Here's the payoff to Curcio. And he swings and hits a rocket deep to left field. Pucker up and kiss that one goodbye. See ya. Will Curcio sends one over the pond. Lions now have a really commanding lead, 12-3. If they score one more run and hold St. Francis this next inning, that'll be mercy rule. And now a new face in the box, Jackson Ballou. Ballou is a very good contact hitter, but he also has some power behind him as well. Here's the pitch, and that one runs in, Ballou gets out of the way, ball one.
Yeah, I remember seeing Jackson Ballou hit a opposite field home run off the top of the scoreboard back in the fall.
1-0, and that one is high and inside. Count moves to 2-0. Here's the pitch. Big swing and a miss right there. Ballou trying to follow in Curcio's footsteps and putting a ball over the pond with that swing. Count moves to 2-1 here. Next pitch is fouled back. Count now even 2-2. Still one out here in the sixth. Lions currently leading 12-3. Here's the next pitch. And he swings and hits a drive deep to left field. Will it go? It will! See ya! Jackson Ballou! So it's back-to-back home runs for the second day in a row for the Lions. Actually, that's the third time this weekend they've done that.
That's some impressive stuff for the pinch hitter there. That's a tough thing to do, come in a game. Of course, he had been running the bases and stuff, but
coming to a game cold, hitting-wise, and going and hitting a bomb, I mean, that's rare to come by. So Lions now lead 13-3. St. Francis currently having a mound visit, and it appears that we are going to have a pitching change. So back-to-back home runs here in the bottom of the sixth from Will Curcio and Jackson Ballou. St. Francis is going to have a pitching change, and we'll be right back after this break. All right, here we go. First pitch to Halliday, the big Canadian, is hit to first base. First baseman gloves it, gets to the bag.
So
Now 2 outs.
with that home run from Ballou, the St. Francis, they're in run rule territory now. They're down by 10.
We're not doing a run rule this game?
Correction, we're not doing a run rule this game.
But if we were, they would be in run rule territory. Bryan currently leading the scoring with 10. Score is 13-3. Logan Stradley up to the dish. Looks at the first pitch and sends the next pitch foul. Count now 0-2 here with 2 outs. Here's the 0-2. And that is outside. Count now 1-2. So here's the 1-2 offer. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Lions put 2 across on 2 solo shots by Will Curcio and Jackson Ballou. They now lead 13-3. We'll be right back after this break. All right, here we now go in the top of the 7th. We did just find out that this is a 7-inning game. So if the Lions hold out right here, they will get the win. First pitch is a ball. Logan Sullivan still on the mound for the Lions. Next pitch from him is in there. Count evens at 1-1. Here's the next pitch, and it's fouled right back at us. Count now moves to 1-2. Lions pitchers have done a really good job today of getting ahead of batters. As that one is inside corner, strike 3. So there's out number 1. Here's the pitch from Sullivan, and that one runs in and gets the batter on the leg. So now there's a runner at first with one out for St. Francis.
With that hit by pitch, the 2 balls in effect.
And the first pitch is in there for strike one. Next pitch from Sullivan is swung on a miss, strike two. Sullivan in a good position. Here's the 0-2. And that one close, but called a ball. Looks like a 50-50 call. Count 1-2. Next pitch is grounded to third baseman Curcio. He'll throw to Denaj Williams. Denaj to first. And they get him. Double play, and that is the ball game. Lions win and sweep St. Francis. Score 13-3. Bryan does have another game today against Bruton Parker. And that'll be 25 to 30 minutes. We'll see you then.